what's been the most challenging aspect of the last couple of years for yourself?
The most challenging aspect has been learning about how to run my own business and to understand how to make a product that people want and need. It's one thing to go out and have an idea and be like, this is amazing, it's great, everyone's gonna love it. And it's another to actually take that to market and get people using it and get people like trying it out and having them actually use it in their work and having it solve a pain point for them. So my biggest problem has been figuring all that out and learning all this.
And how have you gone about doing that then?
Through getting on calls with as many people as possible, including yourself. It's the more people you talk to, the more information you get, and you have these assumptions in your head, and it can be anything from my target company is 10 to 50 people, or it could be that people want to use this software in this certain way. And as a founder, your job goes from making an idea to proving these assumptions are wrong, and you try again and again to prove these are wrong, and you make them wrong, and then you edit the assumptions, and slowly you get to a point where the assumptions you're making can't be proved wrong because they're correct.
And I'm interested, why are you specifically targeting the recruitment sector as opposed to sales professionals?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So what I mentioned before about trying to find a niche is that when you niche down to a very specific target audience, the decisions that you make about the product become more insightful, they become more specific, and you can start to monopolize a very small market and then expand and kind of monopolize another little bit. And your goal is to monopolize and move on rather than take everything at the same time, because that doesn't work. But why recruiters specifically is because the data that I have of like this interconnected information where we know like who works with who, we know the products that people develop, we know the sectors people are in, is very applicable to recruitment, because obviously as your job as a recruiter is to understand what the company wants and to find the people that they need. And so with this information, that makes your life as a recruiter easier, because everything is at your fingertips, at the end of your mouse. And I think this software has potential in sales, in development, potentially in investment, and potentially in modeling how different companies will interact, entire pipelines and sales pipelines and all that. We can figure all this out, but just to start, it's really, really small in this sector of deep tech recruitment.
Yeah. And probably the most active people on LinkedIn are recruiters, so it's probably a good market to
recruiters and salespeople. Yeah.
Amazing. Tell me, what are you most excited about for 2025?
For 2025, I have a couple things. One, I'm aiming to push hard with this business. I've started to get traction now. I've got my first 9 users, which sounds like nothing, but it's 9 more than 0. It's brilliant. So
congrats.
Thank you very much. So in 2025, I'm aiming to push for investment. I'm aiming to hire hard and build out a team of both developers, sales staff, operations managers, people to the UX and the UI to understand like the user's needs and to expand this software dramatically. I expect a high growth in the next year, and the markets are all kind of shaping up to show that's got massive potential.
Amazing. That's really exciting. And if and when you do start hiring, what are you going to be looking for in those let's talk about engineers specifically. When you're hiring,
what type?
Pardon?
What type of engineer?
Well, I'll ask you. Yeah, what do you look for in an engineer? Not just from a tech perspective, but
Yeah.
all rounded.
Sure. So, focusing on the niche of what I'd be looking for is someone who's got machine learning experience, working with graph networks, and even like graph deep learning. But aside from the skill set, which is going to be based across different experience of different companies, apart from the skill set is someone who can take a job and just do it. There's the idea of different people have different skill sets, but not necessarily in like machine learning or like AI or front end, whatever. As in, entrepreneurs tend to be like full of ideas and really bad at executing them, which is why you see so many startups be like, "This is amazing." It's like, I'm not doing this. It's run out of energy. And you've got people who are implementers who they might not have like loads of ideas, but they'll take something and they'll just do it and they'll crack on. And so looking for a developer, as a founder, I need someone who can complement my skill set of like having loads of ideas. And for me, it takes a lot of energy to actually go and do them. So I'm looking for someone to go and do those ideas that I'm having and make it happen.
Amazing. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, also other things I bring to the table personally, outside of recruitment, but something I used to do in a previous company I used to work for was hiring manager training, hiring into your team and what you should be looking for and how you go about running an effective process. One of the things I would talk about is when you're hiring into your team, just because you have one superstar that does fill in the blank, doesn't mean you need a team full of that type of personality or that type of skill set, because you could have, to your point, a team full of blue sky thinkers and all these creative ideas, but then comes to implementing them and they don't nothing gets done. So you need to, where are the skill gaps in your team, and how do you go about identifying those skill gaps and filling for those skill gaps, not just trying to hire a carbon copy of your highest performer, as it were, because that can change.
Exactly that. And importantly, those are also soft skills you have to look for, not just they can write some JavaScript.
100%. Because you can teach those skills, right?
Yeah. And soft skills are mostly learned from growing up. Yeah.
I'm with you. So, I mean, your company sounds like it's very much part of this kind of like AI boom, machine learning.
For sure.
I'm not just talking about your company, obviously you can talk about your startup as well, but what aspect of AI are you most excited about and why?
So, as a computer scientist by training, I feel like I've got more of an insight into AI than the average person. What I love to remind people is that what we're seeing now with like ChatGPT and Dolly is like that's a very specific form of AI, which is generative AI, which is kind of creating new content. But all AI is just inference. It's for just saying, okay, this is the thing, this is the thing, so this is likely to be a thing.
Okay.
And looking into the future, I think that I'm not like massively excited about AI. I don't think that it's going to change the world. It's going to do all this and that. It's just another form of data processing. It's another tool that we have, and we can pull a load of inference and understand different data sets. And I think the problem is maybe I'm in the middle of it and I'm just very aware of like everything that's happening. I'm like, cool, that's a thing. I think what I'm most excited about is probably guess the impact that it can have on finding new solutions to challenging problems which we haven't been able to process. So, for example, I mentioned DeepMind earlier before this podcast of a machine learning engineer, but what I love about DeepMind is the software they produce, specifically AlphaFold. So AlphaFold, do you know much about it?
About DeepMind or the software?
AlphaFold specifically, yeah.
I don't, but I'm reading Mustafa Suleiman's book at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm nearly finished. So, and he mentioned, is it AlphaGo?
Yeah.
It's like a continuation of that program.
AlphaGo is a game AlphaGo is a machine learning software that has become the best Go player, which is an old Chinese game.
Yes.
And so same company.
Yeah, but not the.
Yeah, but same techniques, different approach.
Okay.
So AlphaFold is looking at predicting how faulty proteins fold themselves in very specific manners. So they take a bit of DNA and become a certain shape of protein, does a certain thing in your body. With that information, so many new drugs have been discovered, so many new therapies have been discovered. And what I'm saying about what I'm excited for, this kind of new approaches to problems we haven't had, is things like this, is being able to compute massive amounts of data and make these predictions, and take a new approach to a problem which we, until very recently, haven't been able to fix. So technologies like that, in the use cases of machine learning rather than just a new ChatGPT model's come out.
Yeah, so solving real life problems like or big problems to your point that we haven't been able to work out the answer to, things like cures to diseases and things like that, I think could be very exciting.
Yeah, creative approaches, a new way of looking at things. So actually, yeah, I am excited about AI, but I'm not excited about AI itself. I'm excited about the implications of creativity and new ways of problem solving.
Mm-hmm. Then you also have the reverse problem of using that information to solve other problems that we probably don't want to be solved.
Such as what?
So Mustafa Suleiman talks in his book about terrorist organizations developing certain explosives or ways of attacking people and things like that. So it can all be very scary on that side of things, and talking about how do we kind of contain this technology doesn't get into the wrong hands or the wrong things are developed and things like that.
Yeah, I think there's a balance between containing and exploration. I'm a big promoter of exploration, going out and find new things, find new problems to solve, find new solutions to solve those problems. I mentioned AI being a tool, and it's almost comparable to a hammer. In one sense, you can use it to build a house, and the other, you can case someone's head in and do very drastic things. One is for the better of humanity, one's for the detriment. And in a sense, developing new technology can always have a net positive or negative effects on the world.
Yeah, 100%. I suppose you could even say the same things about pretty much any technology that's been developed, even
absolutely
back to the printing press. Like,
yeah,
you can create libraries of books that would fill libraries with a bunch of knowledge, but then those printing presses could be also used to write books that potentially you don't want to reach far and wide as well.
Sure.
So
yeah, exactly.
Same problem with any technology, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, a couple of fun ones to end with.
Sure.
Tell me, what is the best ROI you've had on a book, a resource, a course, a YouTube video?
Easy. There's a book called The Mom Test, or The Mom Test. It's American.
Okay.
And it's about understanding exactly what users want. So this is actually a very recent thing. So you're taught in this book to answer questions or give questions in a sense that describes what your user is doing. So instead of saying, oh, do you like this? And then lying through the teeth and being like, yeah, it's amazing. You ask questions in like around their pain points and like how they do things. And from that information, you can gather, okay, what I'm building is correct and what I'm building is incorrect. The point is, it's called the mum test because the question that you give, even your mom can't lie to you. And that's taken my my understanding of the industry from, yeah, I'm building the right thing to, okay, now I actually understand what I'm building and why I'm building it.
Amazing. I like that. I like that. It's supposed to be a hypothetical situation, but your situation is a reality. So you're running your own startup. Very excited about it. Anyone in history you can pick from? Who are 3 people you're bringing on board to help you with this startup?
I don't know. That's also a very difficult question. I think my there are so many different people, so many different skill sets, and ultimately, I know the kind of people that I want. I know the backgrounds and like the understanding how the people complement each other. Specific people, I couldn't tell you without doing a bit of research first.
Okay, people you'd like to work with. Give me a few names of people you'd like to work with.
I'm not sure. I want to work with teams of people. I think the power comes in teams, not in individuals. So the teams I want to work with are like the engineers behind our phone, for example, and the mathematicians who work at like GCHQ or at like the leading universities like ETH Zurich or Cambridge.
I like that.
I think there are so many cool groups of people, massive nerds. That's cool in my world, and so many groups of people I'd love to work with. But individuals, I think is almost too narrow-minded to say this person because of this. I think I feel like the world comes from groups of people collaborating together to make something awesome.
I like that. Hence the reason for wanting to build out your team next year then.
Yeah, it's companies survive by making teams and balancing out, not by individual people trying to make something. That's just never been the case.
I appreciate your time.
Well, it's pretty awesome.
So your product is live, it's ready to use, it's
kind of it's live, it breaks every day, but people are dealing with it, and pretty much I've got the next update coming out on Friday. I'm happy to send across if you want it.
Yeah, am I able to play around with it?
Of course, yeah. And the more people give me feedback, the better.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. Sounds good. Yeah. All right. Well, you have all the details.
Yeah.
If there's anything else I can help with, give me a shout. And I'll give
you. If you know anyone you can introduce me to, like in that same recruitment space, that'd be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Well, listen, most of my network is recruiters, right? So they're all going to see me. So there'll be a whole bunch of people reaching out to you, no doubt, at some point. This will be mainly agency recruiters rather than internal recruiters as well. Okay, so I'll bear that.
For now, yeah. But that's definitely set to change in the future.
Interesting. Cool. Sounds good. Anything else you wanted to cover off, or is that all done?
That's it for now, mate. Thank you.
Brilliant. Legend, Harry. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. See you later.
Speak to you soon.